Hi, it's the Lipstick Gal. Thank you so much for watching today. Time to talk some February favorites. I'm gonna do kind of a mixture of course, beauty favorites and skincare favorites. And then I would love to know also what your favorite non-beauty favorite has been this month. Let me know in the comments down below. I think I mentioned this last month as well. This is the Auric Glow Lust. This is such a beautiful product. It is a radiant, I don't know, I would say, is it a cream? Is it a liquid? I mean, look at this. It's kind of thick, but when you start to blend it out, you get the most gorgeous glow. Look at that. Oh, my hand looks healthy, hydrated, 20 years younger. I actually like that it's thick like this. I like that it's pigmented too. I have the lightest shade in Morganite. Out of all the ones that I have that come in a bottle, I would say this one is the one that has the best skin tone match for me. And it just makes my skin look glorious. Now, one full pump is way too much for the back of my hand, and I would even say it might be a little much for my entire face, but I pump it and put it on before foundation. I have been loving that. This has been hydrating when my skin needed a little extra, but I haven't found that my makeup breaks down more while I'm wearing it, which is interesting because I'm a combo gal. I always have excess oils around my nose, on my nose, and like all the way I'd say to like right about here. Like from the tip of my nose, like up through here, this area, this little rectangular window is like Grease City. Halfway through the day, it starts to get shiny. In the summertime, I can have the same thing happen like right here and here as well, but all year round, I'm always a little glowy, like right in through here. And I don't find that this makes my foundation break up at all. And it could be that it's February. I started using this last month. It came in January. I loved it. And it's been cold. I live in the Pacific Northwest. Our highs are like in the mid 40s right now. And if you are from, a colder climate, that may not be cold at all, but it's still cold enough that my skin isn't doing what it does in warmer weather, which is like producing all the oils. I think this is going to be beautiful. I think I might use it more as a on top like face highlight come warmer months. I don't know that I'll be able to put it down everywhere, but I will tell you there have been days where I've worn just this concealer, brows, a little bit of lipstick that I turn into blush on my cheeks. Beautiful. Because I don't know, it has a little bit of coverage to it. It's just glorious. Love this so much. There have been a couple of foundations I have been reaching for this month that I have been truly loving. One is one that I mentioned last month. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. This is a great product. This is a more, I would say, radiant, glowy foundation, and it looks beautiful. I've never worn it for its claimed 16 hours, but I feel like this is one of those foundations that it looks good like throughout the day. Some foundations have like a window where they look a little made up at the beginning, they kind of soften halfway through the day, and at the end of the day, they're like disaster. But that window in the middle, this is not like that. This looks good from beginning application until you wash it off. I don't find that this clings to any dry patches I have. The only problem I have with this, and I'm willing to hold its hand just a little bit, to let it be a little more high maintenance, is that in this area where I have a little bit more oil, I need to use a mattifying primer. I have been using this one from Lancome. It's their Prep and Matte. I think it works really well, and I only use it in this area. And that keeps this product from settling into the corners of my nose, from breaking up over the top of my nose when the oils come through halfway through the day. I think it still looks really beautiful and it works well. Now, I am admittedly a low maintenance, I don't like eye primer, I don't like face primer, but when I can get a foundation to look great on me, I want to wear it all the time. The only beef I have with this is I have the lightest shade. I have one neutral. This is literally the lightest shade that they make, and it's still too deep for me. So my kingdom for a lighter shade. All right, the other foundation I have been in love with also is, I got the wrong shade, it's too deep for me, it's this. It's the Shiseido Syncro Skin Radiant Lifting Foundation. This is not what I expected it to be. I don't know what I expected, but I have been eyeballing this for a while. And when I read the initial reviews and watched the initial reviews of the original Shiseido Syncro Skin Foundation, where it's the self-setting one, I was like, yes, that's what I want. It's not going to settle into my lines. But I wanted to try this more because the other one looks a little bit more matte on the skin than this one does. And this one has the word radiant in it. And I was like, yes, and lifting. So your 47-year-old gal here definitely is looking for a little, you know, a little boost. But more than anything, I want my skin to look like skin. This is medium to buildable coverage. And what is so great about this is that this doesn't need a primer to look beautiful. Like this one needs a little hand holding, a little maintenance. And this one doesn't. This one looks beautiful on top of whatever skincare I'm wearing because last thing I would do is put a sunscreen on, and this looks great. If I happen to pair it with a kind of glowy primer or a mattifying primer or this timeless smoothing primer from Tarte, it looks fine. It looks great, but it looks beautiful on its own. And this looks like the one from Charlotte Tilbury. It doesn't have that window where it looks like a little weird in the morning, perfect in the middle of the day, and then later in the day starts to fall apart. No, 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 no. This one also looks beautiful all day long. This has been a great foundation. My only beef with it is that I picked the wrong shade. And that's what happens when you shop online. I went onto the Shiseido website, the Sephora website, and tried to get shade matched using, you know, other foundations that I wear in the shades that they have. And they recommended this shade, and I feel like it's a little deep for my skin tone. Let me give you a little swatchy swatch and you can see it here. And this is just my hand, but you'll see. It blends okay, but it is a little too dark. And on my face, I feel like my face is even just a hair lighter than my hands because my hands don't always get sunscreen as I'm driving. But I do feel like it is a little deep. But the formulation of this is glorious. I picked up a powder that I have been hearing a lot of good things about that I wanted to try this month. It's not new. It's drugstore. You can find it in a lot of different places, and it's the Light Illusion powder from Flower Beauty. This is supposed to be a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless powder, which I love. I have loved that powder since it launched. I have gone through probably 6 or more compacts of that powder. When you have a large makeup collection like I do, going through multiple compacts and continuing to repurchase says a lot about a product. I have really liked this so much. So I started using it at the beginning of this month. It doesn't end up looking heavy. It doesn't end up looking cakey. It has a little, it's not completely matte. It has a little bit of life to the face. The packaging's a little bulky for me, but I think the reason they do that is they want to give you a place to store your sponge. Because if you lift this little bit up here, you get a mirror, and there's a little sponge under here. I haven't used it. I normally do use the sponges that come with products like this, but I just haven't gotten around to doing it because I like the way this powder looks best on me when I use a brush. I feel like if I were to use the sponge applicator, I would get a lot heavier look than what I'm looking for. And my 47-year-old skin, you know, I have crow's feet, I have fine line under the eyes. In a pinch, I can use this under the eyes. I did once and it was okay. It's just not my favorite. But on the rest of my skin, it's beautiful. I like that it doesn't look flat and matte. It has a little bit of life to it. I wouldn't say that it's like glowy because it's not, but it just looks super pretty on the skin. This has been something that I've been reaching for more than I expected. And I do feel like I might be willing to repurchase this in lieu of the one from Charlotte Tilbury because that is what, a $45 product? Is it even more now? I don't know. And this is definitely like what, $12, $14? This is very reasonably priced and is beautiful. I just wish it was a little thinner packaging wise. When I was putting together my February makeup bin, where I was like putting everything in there that I wanted to use for this month, I put in this. This is the Fenty Sunstalker bronzer. I have the lightest shade in Into Sun. I love this. It's not the bronzer that I'm using today, but I'll tell you, this has been the one that I've reached for the most. And I can tell also if I'm looking at it right here, there's a definite dip to this pan. The reason that I even bring that up is when you have as many makeup items as I do, the fact that anything gets enough of a wear to get a dip, it means it's a favorite, something that I habitually reach for. I used to reach for this a lot more, and I got a lot of stuff in my collection and I lost track of it. But after my declutter, I was like, I want to be more deliberate about this. This is a great product. Perfect shade for me, blends seamlessly, looks great. Love this a lot. Another product I have been loving this month from Flower is this. This is their Shimmer and Strobe highlight palette. It has 3 beautiful shades, a champagne, a pink, and a gold in here. And this really reminds me of a high-end product that you can't get anymore. I think it's completely discontinued, but it's the Bar of Gold highlight from Charlotte Tilbury. The shades are not identical, but again, 3 shades. This one has a deeper bronze shade in it, but I feel like the first two are very similar in tone. Let me line these up better for you. I feel they're very similar. And my favorite thing about this is with this, I just take a brush, run it over the top of all 3 and apply it, and it's beautiful. I'm able to do the same thing with this. My only beef with this, again, is a clunky packaging. I know that they include a brush here. I tossed the brush the first time I felt it because it was like super scratchy. And it was, I don't know. If you have a good brush collection, and I feel like I have a pretty decent one, I feel like it's just wasted space. I would much rather they make the compact like this and cut this portion out here, because this is almost a third extra longer and I don't have anything in there, and there's no way to make it smaller. It is what it is, but the product inside is amazing. It is the highlight that I'm wearing today, and I feel like some highlights, the older I get, the more they emphasize like the orange peel texture I have, the more they settle into the fine lines and my smile lines. It's fine, that's who I am, that's where I'm at in my stage in life, but I don't want something that's gonna make it a ton more obvious. This is beautiful, have been loving this. This product from Flower Beauty, I bought at the same time as their Light Illusion Powder. This is beautiful, this has had a lot of great reviews about it, people love it, and it's not new. This is the Desert Lights eyeshadow palette. I have been head over heels gaga for this the instant I put my finger in it, because you get the most ridiculous pigmentation out of these. Like even this deepest shade here, it's metallic, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. I love this. I'm like, I know, but seriously, they're so delicious on the eyes. They are just glorious. I find that it's easiest for me to apply these, not with a brush, but with just my fingers. And I find that it's easy to do that. And then I'll take a brush and blend areas that I want. I feel like they wear well all day. The one thing I do notice is that the older I get, and it's happening with this eyeshadow too, anytime I'm wearing something that's metallic, and it could be that I don't wear eyeshadow primer. Again, I don't want to commit to the extra step if I don't have to. This, if I keep it on the lid and then my eyes are open, because I have, you know, smaller real estate space, I do find that I get some transfer from the lid to just above. Maybe if I used a primer, I wouldn't have that, but I kind of don't mind. I just, you know that that's going to happen, and I'll take whatever is on the brush that's left over and blend it into the crease so it's less obvious, but they last all day. They're beautiful and crazy metallic. I fell in love with the Pat McGrath blush formula when it launched last year. I think it was May that they came out, and I only picked up one shade. I have the shade Nude Venus, but I love the formula so much that I picked up another shade in December when they were having a sale. And this is the shade Flirtatious. This is a beautiful rosy toned blush. I have it right here. I don't feel like it, I don't know, it's not really a satin finish. It looks like it has a little bit of glow to it, but I feel like this one is supposed to be just a plain matte. But what I love about it is it never makes my cheeks look dry. It never makes them look powdery. It's beautiful. This is Nude Venus. This is the first one I got. You can see I've been into it. It's losing its definition. And this is the new shade. So Nude Venus tends to be a little peachier. There is a little bit of gold shimmer in here. This one has more of a satin finish, and this one I think is more of a matte finish. But this one is just a hair more neutral in tone. It's not quite as warm as this, and it has kind of a slight blush undertone. It's super easy. I've been trying to dial down the intense blush, and this shade in Flirtatious has been perfect. Another formula for blush that I have been in love with for a long time. It's been 2 years since I used this product for the first time, and I have been dedicated to it, and this is my third shade of this formula. It's the M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow Blush. This is a baked blush. This is their new shade in Baroque. It's beautiful. It's got a gorgeous radiant sheen to it. If you're looking at it, let me get it to focus for you. It's very lightweight. It is the blush that I'm wearing today. I don't feel like it's super heavy. It's not really pigmented. I don't know that unless you pile it on, you're gonna see it. If you have like a medium tan, deep skin tone, it's not the right shade. But what I love is that M has 5 shades of this blush. Let me show you the other 2 that I have. This is my most used, and this one here is Magic Hour. So Magic Hour is definitely peachier and Baroque is a little bit more nude leaning. I also have one in Venetian Rose, which is definitely more pinky blush tone, but they all have a gorgeous subtle radiance to them. This is the new shade in Baroque. It's very heavily swatched here. I don't ever wear it that intense. It's more lightweight, but it's beautiful. This one is a little peachier. This is Magic Hour, and this one here is Venetian Rose. This is the one out of all of them. It is deep enough that if I'm not careful, I do end up with clown cheeks. If you look at them, you can see that there is definitely much more depth to this one. And this one has more of a neutral, almost beige sort of lean to it. It's glorious. I love how they have a natural shine to them. You don't have to wear highlight with these. You can if you want. They're beautiful. They blend well. They wear all day. I love this new one in Baroque. I want to get the other one. What's the other one in? I think it's in Rococo. It's a little bit deeper, a little bit more terracotta, but obviously I love it. I picked up a new eyeshadow palette from M Cosmetics. It's from their Masterpiece collection. It's the lightest of the two new ones. This is the one in Rodin. I can't stop wearing it. It's the only eyeshadow palette I took with me when I went to go to a friend's house for a week, and I wore it every day. Some days I would use just one shadow. Some days I would use two. There were days that I wore the entire palette. I feel like this is an absolutely beautiful eyeshadow palette. I will link in the description bar below and right here in the eye the video I did trying this on. There's really great swatches in there in natural lighting. But if you are a fan of neutral, soft, pretty eyeshadows, these guys. I kind of want to pick up the one in, what's the other one? Is it Da Vinci? This one's in Rodin. The other one's a little bit deeper. The shades are a little bit more intense, but I'm kind of dying to know. I want to pick up, I should have picked up the whole collection, but I didn't want to spend that much. I picked up the lighter half of the collection that they put out. So they have a deeper lip product, a deeper eyeshadow palette, and a deeper blush, but those may end up in my collection eventually. If you're looking for a everyday, pretty, not too much, just enough, this eyeshadow palette is perfection. You don't get too many shades, you get just enough. And they all are mwah, beautiful. Love this. The other product that they released in their Masterpiece collection is this. This is their lip cushion. I have the lightest shade in Mona Lisa. This is so pretty. I mean, it's not a lot. And I'm not wearing it right now, but I kind of feel like I want to put just a little layer of this over. You can build it up, but what I like about it is it's got some glow to it. On my bare lips, I'm wearing a different shade of lipstick and a lip liner, so you can get some more. I feel like my entire lip look got darker when I put this on, but if you're wearing it on its own, I love it. First of all, super hydrating. Feels fantastic on the lips. It actually hydrates. Not all glowy, shiny products actually hydrate. This one does. I also find that this one doesn't end up feathering out into the fine lines around the edges of my lips. I feel like it stays where I put it. Not all products do that, and the older I get, the more I find that is a problem. And if I don't use a lip liner, some products just shouldn't be seen in public on my lips because they start to come out in those little lines feathering out around. But I feel like this one, you can use a lip liner with it. You don't have to. The one I have been using is the one from Wayne Goss. This is in the shade Sepia. It looks like that. It's just a hair darker and works great with this, but I love this. This I had to get out of my purse because once it arrived, it's been like my go-to lip product. Love, love, love. I have an entire video on this and I will link it for you in the description box as well as right here, but this is the new Sydney Grace Be Mine eyeshadow palette. Oh my goodness. This is so much fun. I have used every shade except for these two. I'll get around to it, but I wanted to take it with me when I went to see my friend and help her out for a week, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take one, something easy so that I feel like I can do a quick look. If I have this many options, I knew I'd get bogged down, and I wasn't there to be wearing makeup, I was there to help them out. But I love this. I did this whole row here and including this in the try on video that you'll see down below. I used these two shades and these two shades in a video I did I think the day I was using the Shiseido Syncro Skin Foundation, but oh my goodness, these are beautiful. The formulation of the metallics in here, they're just the most beautiful thing. They're crazy radiant metallic. I love that the mattes also are soft. They are easy to blend. What I love so much about this formula is that you don't need an eyeshadow primer to get longevity out of it. You don't need an eyeshadow primer to get pigmentation out of it. I have almost no fallout with this. I love this. Now, I have not made it a secret that I love Sydney Grace. I think their products are beautiful. This comes in a really nice slim package, and it has a really nice mirror. I think that everything about this is great. I've been reaching for it a lot, and I think it's going to be a fantastic addition to my collection. One of the products I have really been enjoying is this. Oh boy, I have makeup everywhere, don't I? This is the Beauty Pie Uber Volume Boost Velvet Mascara. This, I feel, is a really good, less expensive alternative to Lancome's Mr. Big. So it has a big fluffy wand like this. This is where I admit I have terrible eyelashes. I don't use a serum on my eyelashes. I just deal with what I have. And I feel like some formulas will give me length, some formulas will give me volume, but I want something that's gonna look good and that's not going to smudge or crumble. And this formula from Beauty Pie I feel is great. I don't get a ton of length from it, but I get just enough volume to feel like I have a little bit of that va-va-voom going on with my lashes. I like that a lot. And I also like that it has this type of wand on it. I feel like, you know, the more silicone, spiky, plasticky wands and me, we don't get along. The minute you give me a curved wand, I get makeup everywhere. So for my low mascara applying abilities, this is my favorite type of wand. And I love that. The other thing that I really liked about this is the first time I opened it, some mascaras, when you open them for the first time, they are so juicy. They are so wet that like everything clumps together and you have like 3 little pokey eyelashes. Not this. This is great. The brush I feel is really good for distributing it, and it wasn't too wet. I feel like I'm almost on the verge. I've had it open now for 2 months of it being almost too dry, but we're not flaking, we're not smudging. I wear it on the lower lash line as well. This is beautiful and pretty affordable. If you are already a Beauty Pie member and you're making a purchase, just toss this in, give it a try. It's actually so, so good. I can't talk about products that have brought me joy this month and have made me happy without talking about this. And this is a product I said I wasn't gonna buy. And oddly enough, here it is. This is the new reformulated Lancome Labsulu, is it Drama Matte? Anyway, they're lipstick, they're matte lipstick formula. So you press a little gold button on the top, pops out at the bottom. And this is the sweetest thing about it. It's a little heart. Okay, so the shade is really pretty. I have worn it quite a bit. The one thing I'll tell you is that it smells like a Lancome lipstick. If you've ever gotten a Lancome lipstick, received one in gift, whatever, you know what the smell is. It smells exactly the same. I like that when I apply it, I don't actually get any, I'm bad at swatching this way. It doesn't actually skip and it doesn't tug. Some matte formulas are so dry that as you're applying it, it starts to grab and tug your lip. This does not. This glides beautifully. I think the reason that we have a little missing patch here is that my hand is not completely flat and I'm swatching awkwardly on the back of my hand for you. But I feel like you're getting on my lips. I'm getting full pigment when I swipe it on the first time. I only need one swipe. The only downside of this, okay, I guess there's a couple. First, the packaging, although it's lovely and beautiful, if I were to put this in my purse, it would be absolutely destroyed. I already have a small spot right here, and I don't know that you'll be able to see it, where the velvet is coming up, because it's literally velvet. The other thing that I'm having a problem with is, although it's super cute for Valentine's Day, that heart makes it hard for me to apply to my lips. I thought it would make it easier. I'm struggling just a bit, but I don't think it's going to be that long before the edges get dulled down and it'll be easy to use. But I like the formula. I feel like it wears well. It doesn't dry my lips out. Some matte formulas make my lips crusty little raisins. This one is super nice. And I feel like when I take the time to, you know, smush my lips together and it kind of wears for a couple of hours, it gets kind of like this blurred effect on the edge. Not as much as this, because this is me going over it with my finger, but it looks like a beautiful lived-in lipstick. Sometimes when you put lipstick on at the very beginning of the day, it's so precise it looks a little harsh. And then at the end of the day, you have patches like in the middle where you might be missing something here. All you have left is like the outside line. This I feel lasts really well throughout the day. This is a beautiful lipstick, not just the packaging and the heart-shaped bullet. I feel like the formula is actually beautiful as well. It is not too heavy. It doesn't ever feel like you're wearing like a thick layer of lipstick. It doesn't tug and pull as you apply it. It's not uncomfortable after a handful of hours. There are some lipsticks that feel okay going on that are matte, and then like 2 or 3 hours later you start to get really dry. And by the end of the day, if you've reapplied to make sure you have color everywhere, my lips have gotten to the point where they're peeling. I feel like I have like little pieces of skin that need to be peeled off. This does not do that. Now it is a high-end lipstick. It is expensive. It was, I think, $32, $34, but I got it on sale. They were having a 25% off sale, and it included this, so I snagged it. I think I paid $26 for this. I was so delighted. I have been enjoying this, and just seeing it on my vanity brings me a lot of joy. This is one of the skincare items I have been loving this month. This is from Beauty Pie. It's a super healthy skin, amazing sleep oil. I love this product. I don't know if I love it because it is very lightly scented. I love the scent of it. I can't really put a finger on it. But mainly it's the way it makes my skin feel. I use this from my forehead all the way down to my chest, and I don't need that many like drops of this, but I feel like when I put this on, my skin like literally looks amazing. and it feels super soft. I did put, there's some makeup left on this. I did put lotion on before I started, but I feel like this, there's something about this. My skin feels softer. It doesn't really feel like oily. It has a nice suppleness to it. And that scent, I don't know what it is. I feel like a luxurious rich lady every time I put this on at night. Love it. Have really been enjoying that. Another thing that I have been enjoying quite a lot is this. This is Agency's Dark Spot formula. Remember how I mentioned earlier that I deal with hyperpigmentation? And the one spot that has been bothering me for the last, I don't know, 17 years is this one right here. It came in the year that I turned 30 and has never been gone. And the only product that has gotten it to the point where I don't need corrector, concealer, foundation, and powder with coverage has been this. The ingredient in this that has really been helping to fade my hyperpigmentation spots is hydroquinone. It comes in 8% in the formula that they made for me, and I feel fantastic about it. So the original dark spot formula that I tried October, November had 8% hydroquinone. And the one that I'm on right now, I'm almost done with this tube, is the one that has azelaic acid, kojic acid, resveratrol, and an EGCG green tea extract. It doesn't have hydroquinone. Hydroquinone is known as the gold standard for fading dark spots on your face, but I love that Agency knows that you can use it for 2 months and then you take a break, and for 2 other months you use something without it. And my next bottle that should be arriving soon is going to be the one that comes again with the hydroquinone in it. And I was worried that this formula that does not have that hydroquinone gold standard spot lightening formula was really not going to do much. But I will tell you, this formula that they're cycling me on and off of, the one that is like known for being a spot decreaser, this one I thought was just going to kind of hold me pigmentation wise in the same place. It actually has continued to decrease pigmentation. This has been so good that I can wear a light coverage foundation and I don't feel like I need to put corrector over it. I don't feel like I need to put concealer over it. I'm in the habit still of doing that, and I kind of want to get out of the habit because I feel like my skin always looks like, in this area especially where I would have 4 products just like caking it up, I feel like I don't need to do that anymore. This has been great. The last product that I wanted to share with you that I've been loving this month that is skincare related is not a new product. I have loved this for many, many, many years, and it's the Glossier's Balm.com. I have the one in Mango. Do you see how I'm halfway through this tube? I opened this up at the beginning of the month. Now, the reason this has gone through so much of it is This was one of the things that I wanted to make sure I took with me when I went to my friend's house. They were sick, they couldn't take care of themselves, so I was wearing a mask. I wasn't wearing any lipstick under there. I used this, but when you're under a mask all the time, I feel like my lips are brushing up against it. And in brushing up against it, they get a little dry, a little chapped, a little irritated. This helped. The other thing is I was in such a hurry. My friend called me and said that her husband was in the hospital and that she was starting to feel ill and wasn't sure she was gonna be able to help him when he got out of the hospital. I was like, I'm on a plane tomorrow. So I was throwing things together, you know, like at 5 o'clock in the night, knowing that I was gonna leave the next morning. I missed taking some things with me. I forgot an eye cream. So guess what got put underneath my eyes at night? This is actually really great. I use it on my cuticles. The other problem I had is I was washing my hands so much and using so much hand sanitizer that the skin underneath my rings, it looks so much better now, but it's slightly pink. It was red and chapped and bleeding because water would get stuck under there or hand sanitizer would get stuck under there, and the skin was so irritated. It was flaking. It was terrible. And I was putting this on there just as an occlusive, you know, put this on and just hope that it helped to heal it. And it's been fantastic. So this, yes, you can use it on your lips. I use it under my eyes in the wintertime. And not just when I forget to take my other skincare with me, but I do keep one of these tubes on my bedside. And as I'm climbing into bed at night, I'll put a little bit on my lips. It's either this or the Laneige lip sleeping mask. Sometimes I'll put this on and then put a layer of this over the top. Like I usually layer this with other products, but I love this product. If you've never tried it, it is a petroleum-based product. It comes in a lot of different shades, flavors, colors, whatever you want to call it. This one right here is mango. It looks slightly tinted until you rub it in, and then you really can't tell that you're wearing it. But I love this as a lip balm, but I also use it on my cuticles, on the tops of my hands if I'm, you know, done applying it and have anything left. This hand gets a lot more hydration than this hand because I'm right-handed and I apply with this hand and then I do this. But sometimes if I need a little extra, if my cuticles are dry, I'll squeeze out a little bit, tap it between my fingers, and then rub it across all the tops of my cuticles. Love this. I forgot how much I loved it until I opened a new tube this month, and I'm halfway done. Love this stuff so much. So my friends are not coffee drinkers. I didn't know what to do. I ended up drinking a lot of tea at their house, but I finally went out and I got myself some. They don't have a coffee machine. They don't have a French press. They don't. So I ended up going out and getting those little instant packets of Starbucks. What is it? Anyway, they're just like little tiny sleeves of, you know, hot water, and you pour in the instant coffee, and I was having coffee in the morning that way. I'm glad to be home with like my, you know, my good coffee maker and my giant troughs. So coffee has been a moment of deliciousness. Other things, you know what? I don't know. What are you watching right now? Okay, so on the flight home, I started watching a show that I'd been hearing about for years, but I was like, yeah, whatever. It's not on a streaming service that I get. I'm not paying for another one. And out of just sheer curiosity, I started watching the show Yellowstone. Now, if you're not familiar with it, it's a rancher family that lives just outside of the national park Yellowstone, you know, beautiful Montana, and they have hundreds of thousands of acres. I think it's 200,000 acres that they own, and they're ranching there. And they're a well-to-do family, but everybody wants their land. And what they do to go about keeping it, whoa, oh my goodness. So I watched the first 3 episodes on the plane. And then when I got home, of course, if you didn't know, I was caring for some friends who were sick. I'm on my last day of isolating at home. I needed to do it for 5 days just to make sure that I didn't get my family sick. Fingers crossed that I test negative today, and I think I will because I feel fine, vaccinated, boosted, all of that stuff. But I've been using the last several days here at home to watch Yellowstone. I've watched all 4 seasons, and I just subscribed to Paramount Plus so I could start watching 1884. I know. And my husband's like, what's with all of the new like subscriptions? I'm like, I'm trying to watch a show. I don't know. That's the one thing that really caught my fancy, and I have been kind of like it's been less than a week, but I've been like, what happens? I have to know. I have been binging it so much. I've been doing a lot of crocheting this month as well. I made a scarf for my mom. I'm working on a sweater for myself. I finished up a sweater for my husband. I have been really busy with yarn and crochet hooks, and it has been making my heart happy. And because I start a new job next week, part-time job, I will have less time to crochet, so I'm trying to get in all the crochet that I can. Thank you so much for watching today. I would love to know if you have any favorites, things that you have been doing, foods or beverages you have been enjoying, books or TV shows that you're like, if you haven't, you must. And let me know also if you have a beauty favorite. And I know this is mostly beauty favorites, but like, that's what I want to know. What else do you do? What has brought you joy this month? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have an incredible day, and I will see you again soon.